Hey YouTube, this is gonna be my first video that I'm putting out on this channel, and it's going to be a trip report about the craziest time I've ever had using psychedelics. So it starts out in the middle of the week. My friend texts me. He says he knows where he can get acid and asks if I want it. So of course I say yes, because psychedelics are my favorite thing in the whole world, even over sex. Like a breakthrough on psychedelics blows sex out of the water, just hands down. Alright, well, enough about that. Anyways, my friend texts me saying he knows where he can get Lucy. And anytime psychedelics come around, I just have to get my hands on them, and I buy as much as I can get for my money. So this particular time, he texts me in the middle of the week, and I have $80, so I have him get me 8 hits. And I'm back home. He's at this apartment we're paying for in a college town, and I have to wait till Friday before I can come down and trip. So it's Friday, and I get out of work, and I was pissed off because I think some dude was bitching at me at work, and I was just kind of irritable. And I head back down to our apartment, and I get there. It's around 7 o'clock, and I go to my apartment, say what's up to my friends, and then I take the 8 hits, and I stick them all in my mouth at once like an idiot. Because as soon as I put the 8 hits in my mouth, I realized it was not LSD 25, like I thought or like I'd been told. When someone says acid, I assume LSD 25. I would hope someone would have the decency to tell me that they're giving me a research chem, but this time that did not happen because the dealer had told my friend it was acid. And I'm not sure if my friend wasn't under the impression that anything that makes you trip is on a piece of blotting paper is acid. But no, acid, LSD 25. If you're giving someone 25I, tell them it's 25I. Don't use the word acid or 2CI or 2CE, whatever. The point is, I stick all 8 hits in my mouth, and I realize it's not LSD because I get that nasty, bitter, metallic taste that you get with all research chemicals. So this pisses me off even more. And I spit the hits out right away, and I'm just like, what the fuck, Dan? This isn't acid. He's like, yeah, it is. I was like, no, it's not. It has a taste. He's like, some acid can have a taste. I was like, no, dude. LSD is tasteless and odorless. You gave me a research chemical. Who the fuck did you get this from? So I get the kid's number that he bought it from, and I call the dealer up, and I demand him to tell me what I just put in my mouth. Because you're not supposed to stick 8 hits of a research chem in your mouth, no matter which one it is. At least from my knowledge. Maybe you can't. I would not recommend it, seeing as which you're about to find out. But I called the dealer up. I was just like, what the fuck, man? What did you sell my friend? He said you said it was acid. This isn't acid. My mouth tastes terrible. Like shit. I can't get this taste out of my mouth, and I could possibly OD because I don't know what the fuck I just stuck in my mouth. And the kid's like, no man, I have acid. None of my stuff has any taste. I was like, well, obviously it does, because he got it from you, and my mouth is coated in this terrible fucking taste. I've had this before. And he keeps trying to play it off like it's acid. So I was like, alright, whatever, dude. If you can't give me a straight answer, fuck you. Whatever. I hang up and I go outside and I'm just sitting there trying to calm down because I was having a shitty day, and me paying $80 for something I didn't want to pay $80 for added to that. It added to me being pissed off. So I was kind of bitching at my friends and just, grumpy, whatever. And I'm sitting there. 15 minutes in, I feel it coming on already. Coming on strong and quick. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I feel it coming on strong. The light becomes bright. Everything becomes brighter. Contrast increases. Everything becomes more rich and vibrant in color, like it always does with psychedelics. But this was coming on within 15 minutes. I look at the cement and or concrete or whatever, the cement. And there's this reoccurring pattern that I always get with when I do psychedelics in the cement. And usually when they level out the concrete or flatten it out, when they just lay it or whatever, it has straight lines running through it because they push in a straight manner, and it leaves those straight little lines running through it. But when I trip for some reason, these straight lines become quarter circles. So the brush is like a bunch of lines in a quarter circle, and then there'll be another bunch of lines in a quarter circle overlapping it, and I see this pattern everywhere in the concrete within 15 minutes. And the same thing happens with grass when I'm tripping. It gets this almost like hexagonal pattern running through it, almost kind of like a beehive. I don't know if it's hexagons or octagons, something like that. One of those patterns, like a beehive. But yeah, so this is coming on within 15 minutes, and I'm sitting outside with my friends, and we're just trying to figure out what we should do. So we're sitting there, and my friends get a call from my other friend asking if they want to come to his place and hit a $700 bong. And I'm sitting there, and they asked me, Nolan, do you want to hit a $700 bong? And I was like, of course I want to hit a $700 bong. Everyone knows that if you're tripping, smoking weed definitely enhances it. It definitely increases it intensifies the trip. So we get in the car, and it's probably 20 minutes in, and my thoughts are racing. As hard as I'm tripping, it's comparable to when I've peaked on 2 or 3 hits of acid. I'm just getting real spacey. My thoughts are racing. I'm trying to keep up with my thoughts. Just all that. You get more and more in your head, and you're thinking faster and faster. So we get to the apartment, and by this point, I'm tripping harder than I've ever tripped in my life. And it's only been 25 to 30 minutes. And we're sitting there. I can't even hit the bong. I have to have this chick sit next to me, hold the bong, and light it for me, because I was too fucked up to trust myself holding a bong. I fucking hate bongs because I've broken a few, and you always gotta buy your friends new ones, and they put them in stupid fucking places, just like in the middle of the floor, and you walk outside at night and like kick it over, and you just be like, why the fuck was that there? And they still make you pay for a new one. So anyways, we're smoking, and I'm getting to the point, I'm just saying stupid shit. When you're tripping and you're with sober people, they can be talking about something like trees, and the kid that's tripping will think about trees, and then they'll think about how trees are like that, and then they think of they make another connection or a metaphor in their head, like as to how trees are like that, and then that is like this, and this is like that, and then next thing you know, the tripping kids talking about cats, and all the sober kids are talking about trees, and they'll just be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But anyways, I was getting this point, and I'm sitting there. It's probably 25, 30 minutes in, and all of a sudden, I get this terrible pain in my stomach. Just this terrible gut-wrenching pain. It's like my stomach twisted up or something. And if I had to describe it, I'd say it felt like someone lifted my body up and just hung me from like a meat hook, like a hook that they hang cow carcasses from when they're butchering them or whatever they do. And it's just terrible, and I wasn't expecting this at all. And I'm sitting there, I was just like, what the fuck? This isn't supposed to happen. And my heart starts pounding real hard, and I get this pressure in my left side. And I think I'm having a heart attack. My heart starts pounding really fucking hard, and I start getting really scared and uncomfortable. I just look over to my friends, and I was just like, I didn't even say anything. My friend just knew by the look on my face that I needed to get out of there, because I thought I was dying. I thought my life was coming to an end, and my stomach was hurting really bad. And people know, like, or you're gonna find out if you choose to use psychedelics, that it can be pretty uncomfortable being around a lot of people when you're tripping. Usually I like to keep it to small numbers of people I'm around when I am tripping. And it's especially uncomfortable when you're not too close with the kids. So we step out of the apartment, and this is where the visual part comes in. This is all I remember visually, was the ride home. And then it gets even crazier. But I step outside, and I look in the sky, and the sky looked like it was made out of crystals or diamonds or something like that, and they were all rotating and like working together, and it covered the whole sky. There were just like hundreds of like crystal looking objects in the sky, and they were like all spinning and like working together like gears or something, and it was really fucking cool. I don't know why I saw it, but I guess a lot of people see crystals or diamonds in the sky when they trip real hard, because the Beatles even made that song. Was it Lucy Diamond in the Sky or something? I guess that's where the slang word Lucy comes from for acid. But I was actually seeing this, and it was really fucking cool. I look over at the trees, and the trees look fake, but real at the same time. It's hard to describe. Everything just seemed like it wasn't real, like it was some kind of prop put on stage or something, like on a play. And I look over at this tree, and it looks perfect. I don't know how you can have a perfect tree, but it looked perfect. Just the proportions are something about it. It's just beautiful. And the leaves weren't even attached to it. They were all floating. They're all floating around the tree, and they were spinning. And they were all floating around the tree, but none were connected. And it was perfect. I felt like I could connect with the tree, like I could feel its like energy or something. Like everything seemed animated. Like it looked like I was in a cartoon, or like a borderline cartoon, something, or like a video game, something animated, like Mario 64 or something. But not like that. But different. It's like half real and half cartoon. And it was just beautiful. It was really fucking cool. I never had visuals like this intense. I've never had diamonds in the sky that were rotating, or crystals, like gears, and just this perfect tree that had, the leaves weren't attached to it. They were just floating around it. It was really fucking cool. And I wish I didn't have that pain in my stomach, and I wish I didn't think I was dying, because I actually would have been able to enjoy some really cool visuals. But that wasn't the case. So I get in the car, and at this point I'm like telling myself in my head, like, good job, Nolan. You fucking killed yourself. You wanted to get this level 5 experience. You've been trying so hard for it, and look what your efforts have. Look where they've gotten you. Look, you're about to die. And I was just feeling all this regret, and my friends were laughing at me. And I don't want to say they looked evil, but they seemed very sinister, maniacal. I felt like the whole world was in on this, was in on me tripping, on me being like this, like they all knew what was gonna happen and how the world works and everything about Nolan Rogers, but I didn't know, and they did. It was like they were all sent from God, and then I'm here, and they're all here to teach me a lesson or something. That's what it felt. It felt like fate or something. Just felt like it was meant to be. And my friends seemed like they're like just like evil messengers sent from God. Not evil, but they seemed very sinister. Like they were in on the joke, like in on me dying, and they were trying to teach me a lesson before I passed on. And the car ride home, everything seemed so symbolic and meaningful. It just, everything had so much meaning and symbolism. I don't know. Symbolism, yeah. It's like if you were in third person and you were watching your life like a movie, and you could see things that you can't see from your own perspective. It was like fate, or something like that. It just seemed like God had sat down and wrote a story with a bunch of symbolism and messages and metaphors and whatnot, and he takes you without knowing, and he puts you into his movie, which I guess is what they call fate, but everything seemed like this. And on the ride home, I started thinking that the pain in my stomach was a premonition of this terrible car accident we're about to get in. I don't know why, but I thought we were about to get in this terrible wreck, and we're about to die. And this is where things get crazy, because now I start hallucinating. I've never seen things that weren't there, but I start hallucinating. I think the pain in my stomach was me getting impaled by a piece of metal from the wreck that was about to happen. And at this point, everything had slowed down, like considerably. Everything was very slow. My time was slowed down a lot. And I was just thinking, like, I look over and I see some cop cars and an ambulance heading to the scene of my wreck, where I was about to get in this terrible car accident and die. And the whole time, I thought my friends knew they were gonna wreck on purpose. It seemed like they knew what they were doing, and I was just there along for the ride to learn my lesson. I look over. I see these two cop cars with their lights blaring, and ambulances whizzing by our car. And I know they weren't there because I asked my friends about them. I said something about them. I was like, did you guys see those cop cars? And they're like, no, there were no cop cars. And I look up ahead, and I see glass and sparks and metal and just shit flying through the air from this crazy fucking car wreck. I saw the car wreck out the window. Like, it's like I was looking into the future or something, and I saw this car wreck, and everything was going really slow, and it was like I had all this time to think about my life before I died, and hopefully I would learn something before I leave. And I felt like I hadn't been spending my life the way I want to. So I see the cop cars. I see an accident up ahead. I see the metal sticking out of me. It's like when you daydream in class and you're sitting there and your eyes are open, you're not sleeping, and you see your teacher and you see the kids in front of you, whatever, but when you're daydreaming, what you really see is in your head. You know what I mean? Like, you see your thoughts more than what your eyes are showing you. And it was like this, but it was so powerful that I was actually seeing. I was putting my thoughts into reality, and I just was seeing all this crazy shit about my car accident. I look over to my right, I see like a police helicopter or something, like just 100 feet away, and it's just hovering in the sky, and the crystals and the diamonds are still going behind it, but there's this like SWAT helicopter or something, and it's hovering in the sky, and there's like a rope ladder, and there's like a rope or something, and there's like dudes hopping out of it, and I'm seeing explosions in the distance, and it just seemed like all hell had broken loose, and like I felt like it was the apocalypse or something, and I was dying right before like all hell was unleashed on planet Earth, and I thought we were being invaded or something. And I don't know why. It was just crazy as fuck. It was so real to me. It was real. It was crazy. And we get back to the apartment. I would go straight to my room. I'm still scared. My stomach still hurts. I'm still having that pain in my chest and my left side. And I consider calling my parents. And I want to call my brother and my family. I just want to call them all and tell them I love them before I die. And I didn't end up doing that, thankfully, because there's still part of me thinking that I'm going to make it through. So I'm sitting there. My one friend, Dan, comes in the room, who I had been pissed as fuck at before for getting me something that wasn't acid. I have this kid come over and give me a hug and leave the room because I thought I was dying and I just want a hug from my friend. I don't fucking know. I thought I was dying. So he leaves the room, shuts the door. I'm just in there by myself. And next thing I know, all of a sudden, I can't even see in front of me anymore. My eyes are open, but everything is pitch black. And in front of my eyes, everything's pitch black, but there's like waves of electricity running up and down my vision. Oh, I forgot. I'm sitting there, and this sound is building in my head. It had been building the whole trip, like this electric humming out of like an electric box. That hum, or like real powerful electricity. It sounded electric, and it came over me, and by that I mean it's just like I was hearing it, and then all of a sudden it just like built up and came over me. And as it was coming over me, that's when I lost my vision. I was sitting there, and it was like, "Ew, ew." And then it's just like, "Ew," and then like came over me, and I couldn't see anything. It was all black, but there was like waves of electricity running up and down, like oscillating in my vision, and it was red. It was like red electricity or something, and it was running up and down my vision. Then the next thing I know, I'm looking down at myself. I see myself laying on my bed, and I'm like floating in the room. I just see myself looking down, and my life starts flashing before my eyes. Just bits and pieces of things I forgot about, and they start coming to me. And I remember hearing this voice, and it says, "This is your life, Nolan. This is your life. You were meant to have this life. This life was made for you. This is your life." And the next thing I know, I'm looking down at my body, but it's not in my room anymore. I'm looking down at myself, and I'm laying on some dirt or some sand or something. And it was like I was in this desert, and the sky was all red. It was real eerie. And I just had this complete sensation of regret. Just, no, I knew I was out of my body because the pain had stopped. I was feeling no pain anymore. I was just looking at myself. And I see my body laying there. And I'm in the middle of nowhere. Just this weird, desolate, desert kind of place. And I'm just experiencing pure regret. And I think this is what hell is. It's not burning, like torture and screaming and devils and all that shit. It was just pure regret for not living my life the way I know I should. Everyone knows how they should be living their life. They know how to fix a lot of their problems, and they know what they could be doing to make their lives better. But for some fucking reason, all of us choose not to. We could be on top of the world if we wanted to, but many of us choose not to, and we choose to make bad decisions. And that's what it was. It's just me in the middle of nowhere experiencing pure regret for not living my life anywhere close to my potential or the way I wanted to. And I think I was experiencing hell because I had been living the way I didn't want to. I didn't want to be living the way I was, and I knew that, and I would still do things I knew were hurting me. So I think this is why I went to this place, and this place is what I would call hell. Hell is just regret for not having lived your life the way you wanted to. Then something happens. I go somewhere else. But I don't remember. I don't remember what happens. I know it was crazy. And people are gonna watch this, skeptics of psychedelics and go into this level 5 and ego death or whatever. Skeptics are gonna be like, "Yeah, man, you were just fucked up. How do you know something crazy happened if you don't even remember?" Well, it's like when you wake up from a dream and you're like, "Wow, that dream was crazy as fuck." You know the dream was crazy, but there's parts of it you don't remember. But you wake up in the state of knowing that it was crazy. The next thing I know, I'm in the sky, and in front of me is this humongous machine. Humongous. Just massive. Like fucking some humongous epic fucking machine. And it's kind of like shape. It was almost shaped like a it's kind of like a box, but it was rounded off, if that makes sense. And this machine had a ton of little, like, TV screens or something. And they were all floating around it. The machine was controlling it, and these little rectangular TV screens or whatever, they were all floating, they were orbiting around the machine. And it was floating in the sky, and these TV screens were floating around it. And I realized that these TV screens were visual representations of different realities or different universes. And I see these TV screens rotating around the machine, and I realized that this machine is pumping out life throughout all these realities. It was giving everything the ability to live, like pumping out life. It was just this machine that worked to keep everything alive in every universe, in every galaxy or reality, dimension, whatever you want to call it. I'm not quite sure what it was, like different parts of life or something. Like, that's how I can describe it. It's just, it was having these screens float around it. Each one was like a different reality or a different universe or something. And this machine was letting everything live. It was giving everything the ability to live. It was like a machine made by God or something. I'm sitting there. I'm not sitting there. I'm just in the sky seeing this, experiencing this. It's like it communicated with me, the machine. And next thing I know, I'm back in my body. I just sit up and I start crying because I'm so happy. It was the prettiest, most profound thing that I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, nothing else I've ever seen in this life comes close to the, like, the awe. It was just amazing. I started crying from pure joy and astonishment. I call my one roommate into the room, and I start yelling at him because he's an atheist. And I tell him, I was just like, you have no fucking clue. You have no fucking idea about life, man. Like, you think there's no God? And when I came back, I felt like I was God. I felt like I had become God. And I, like, tapped into this, like, knowledge. This, like, that I felt like I, like, could rule the world. I felt like, knowing what I knew after that, I felt like I could rule the fucking world. And that I was God. I could see how Charles Manson could fucking, like, get people to kill for him just because he tricked a lot. And, like, I was just running around the apartment and, like, yelling at my friends. I was just like, oh my God, like, you guys have no clue. None of us did. No, I didn't know. I believed there was God before this, but now I know. And the rest of the trip I spent coming down. And that's about it as far as the actual trip itself goes. But the trip didn't end because it stayed with me, because prior to this, for about 2 years, I had been suffering from depression. And there was a period of time up until this trip where every day I'd wake up and go to bed with the same thought in my head. And I would wake up and go to bed thinking, wow, I'm still alive. I wish I was dead right now because I'm a piece of shit and this life's not worth living. Like, why do I want to live if I can't even enjoy anything? Uh, I, I thought about killing myself a lot. I was too scared to because I didn't want to hurt my family or my friends like that. But I was just suffering so bad each day that I would just wish I was dead. And I just tell myself I was a piece of shit. Like, no one cares about me. I mean, I knew that wasn't true, but like, the thought of suicide, it was like a virus in a computer. It was just this thought that it kept coming into my head. And I would try to think about other things. I would try to get it out of my head, but couldn't get the thought out of my head. I just thought I was a piece of shit. I thought people thought I was crazy, and I would wish I was dead. But as soon as I came back from that experience, from seeing that machine, as soon as I got back, I knew that I was fixed. I don't know how to describe it other than knowing. I just came back and I was crying because I knew I was fixed. And when I came back, I loved myself. I felt love for myself. And my whole life, I've been having trouble loving myself. I don't even know if I could say I love myself up until this point. So like, just stay with me. And it's been 8 months since that trip. About 8 months. Maybe longer. But the thought of suicide has not popped up into my head. I haven't even been depressed. It rewired my brain or something. Like, I love myself, and I understood that every human being on this planet is here for a reason, and there's a purpose. There's a purpose for your life. Everyone is special, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't. Your life has meaning. There's purpose for you living. We're not just some freak fucking accident in the universe where chemicals manage to organize themselves and create consciousness. That's not what the fuck happened. No, there is a higher power, an intelligent being, and he, God, the manifestation of everything, God, he has purpose for us all. And I knew that when I came back. I am no longer depressed. So, for all the people that say psychedelics are bad, you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what you are talking about. You're just talking to talk. Because you have this preconceived notion that drugs are bad. Who needs to do drugs? They're illegal. Drugs are bad. Why? You do drugs? You fucking crazy. No. Fuck you. People that talk out their asses without having experienced psychedelics. You cannot denounce what happened to me or what happens to anyone else when they reach these levels, when they get the full psychedelic experience. You can't explain it with your science. You can say your neurotransmitters misfire, whatever. You can talk all this scientific mumbo jumbo and act like you know. How can anyone act like they know if they haven't experienced it? If people just lie to themselves. So I feel like all these people you see online, all these trolls or whatever you call them, people against psychedelics, they're fucking ignorant. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So anyways, I finally got my level 5 experience, my ego death or whatever, my loss of connection with reality, and I've cured my depression. I didn't cure it, the machine did, or whatever happened before that. I was fixed. I am fixed. That is beautiful. If you don't know what it's like to hate yourself and have that on your shoulders every day, it's hard to imagine. I actually want to live now, and that is more beautiful than the trip was itself. That I can love myself, and my life has meaning now, and I love myself. But yeah, that's about it. Other than for a few months after, about two or 3 months after, I would smoke weed late at night and I would start mildly tripping again. Like, I would start getting pattern distortions. I guess they call it HPPD. I think I got that because I was definitely experiencing some like flashback effects after this trip, and it's kind of cool. I didn't mind when it happened. I thought it was kind of cool because I fancy myself a psychonaut, and like in some strange way, the HPPD was like a kind of like a badge of honor or something for having gone through that, which sounds weird, but that is about it as far as the trip and its effects go. Yeah, if I could give anyone any tips from this experience, I would say that if you're taking any kind of hit or a blotter, like any kind of blotter paper, do yourself a favor and make sure you're taking LSD by starting out with one hit. Just put one hit in your mouth, and if you get no taste, I would think it's safe to assume it's LSD 25. I'm not sure if there are other analogs or research chemicals that are tasteless and odorless, but I'm pretty sure that LSD 25 is the only one that you're not going to get some nasty fucking chemical taste in your mouth. So start out with one hit. If your mouth is not covered in that shitty taste, then do the rest. And another thing, if you are tripping on LSD or psilocybin, and you're tripping really hard, there's a chance you're gonna think you're dying, but you need to put it in your head. You need to get it stuck in your deep subconscious or whatever that you aren't really dying, because this could help the enjoyability of your trip a lot, because who can enjoy anything when they think they're dying? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Check my channel out. I might put some more trip reports up because I've still got some crazy fucking stories, and I plan on continuing using psychedelics. I'm trying to break through on mushrooms, which is what I wanted to do. I didn't even know you could break through using a research chem, but that's clearly what happened to me. I broke through to something, and I thank God for this trip. because I can live my life and I love myself, and I haven't thought about killing myself at all ever since that trip. Just have a new appreciation for life. Anyways, thank you guys, and I will see you all later.